this is a problem I ran into. So I've got clients, but I can't speed up my workflow because I want to maintain quality, but I also can't maintain quality because I have to speed up my workflow. I'm getting the worst of both worlds. I was in a call with another editor. You might know him. His name's Tavin Van Hemert. He's a pretty large editor. He was the editor of a channel called Linus Tech Tips, who is a channel with about 15, 16 million subscribers, one of the largest tech channels on YouTube. And he was their main editor, editing every single day, full high production quality videos. And Tavin basically became known as the macro god because he automated so many things. He was the guy that basically revolutionized editing workflows. Now, I used to look up to this guy, like I still do. I used to really look up to him, and he had this video where it was like a 4-hour course, and he basically explained his workflow, how he edits videos and his automation. It's super high level, so if you want to check it out, you can, but that's not the point of this video exactly. Essentially, I jumped on a call with him because I had gone into space. I wanted to bounce ideas off of him. It was just the beauty of networking when you start growing. And I asked him some questions at the end of our call. So it was about an hour call. I talked to him. And what I did is I run a school community called The Editing Lair. This is not me asking you to join it. If you're super, super new, it's not for you. If you've already gotten 1-2 clients, no matter the range, that's the type of person we help scale. But basically, I asked the boys, I'm going to be jumping in a call with Tavin. He's worked with these channels. He's amazing at macros, amazing at workflows. The guy basically ran an entire production team as a one-man guy, who was the whole production team. I'm going to ask him questions at the end. What questions do you want me to ask? And one of the questions that one of the boys asked in the lair was, what are some mistakes that people make when it comes to automations and workflows? And he answered something that I had never heard of before. He said, when you're automating or when you're trying to get faster or improving your workflow, you want to avoid something called premature optimization. Now, I had never heard of this term up till now. So for a few seconds, I tried to act like I knew it. I was nodding along. But then he continued explaining it. And I was like, bro, I'm going to be completely honest. I have no idea what that means. He was a humble guy. So he explained it to me. Premature optimization is basically you're trying to optimize something before it even needs to be optimized or before you're ready to optimize it. So let me give you an example. Let's say you are someone who has never played basketball in their life. If you are trying to learn how to play basketball, there is no point of you searching up 50 tutorials on how to get the perfect wrist movement, the exact foot placement you need, the exact wind conditions that are best for throwing a basketball, the exact shoes that give you the best grip. None of that actually matters if you're just starting out. Because when you're just starting out, you actually gain more skill by just throwing the ball towards the hoop. Whether it goes in or not doesn't matter. You'll still make more progress than trying to optimize before you've even done any action. Another example is you're trying to get into running, let's say. It's trying to find the perfect running shoes and spending hours researching that instead of just running in the shoes you have and buy them when you're further into it. Like these tutorials, these running shoes, the exact wrist movement for basketball. These are important. Like for the top guys, yes, it's important when you get there. But trying to optimize right at the beginning before you've even gained the base skill actually holds you back more than it helps you. That's the concept of premature optimization. Now, with workflows, premature optimization is where you're trying to improve your workflow when you don't have a workflow in the first place, or when you can't do the animations in the first place. It's trying to create presets when you don't know how to do the effect at all. It's trying to get faster at cutting. When you're cutting right now, I'm not saying this for you personally, maybe it is, maybe it's not, take this with a grain of salt. It's trying to get your workflow faster when your cut pacing is completely off right now. It's trying to improve it's trying to get videos done in half the time when right now you actually need to spend longer because you actually improve a lot with every single video you make. So I was coaching an editor. His name's, in fact, I won't mention his name, but I coached him from when he first got into editing, like monetizing editing. So he knew how to basically edit, but he didn't know how to monetize it. And he joined the editing layer, and I basically explained to him that, yo, this is what you do. First of all, you need to get like a set amount of videos that are done. And after he completed the first video, he basically came into the next coaching call and asked, how can he get faster? And I asked him a question, because when you have a broad question like this, as a coach, you always want to sort of delve into what the deeper question is, because how to get faster is a super vague question, right? I asked him, why do you want to get faster? I wanted to find out what is actually the problem here. And he told me, I did this video, but it took me way too long. And I asked him, how did the video come out? And he said, he looked really surprised. He was excited. He said it was his best video yet. And I told him, you don't even need to worry about getting faster right now. Because if I asked you to do that exact same video again, imagine I gave you the same footage, I gave you the same assets, I gave you the same sort of instructions, and I told you to do the exact same animations that you've already done, how long would it take you? Would it take you the same amount of time? And he said, no, of course not. So it took him about a week to do the video the first time. And I asked him, if he did it again, how long would it take? He said about 2 days. I told him, that is completely normal. Trying to improve at editing will take longer than what you've already done in the past. Now, it's a trap that I see so many editors fall into, where they want to both learn new effects, learn new animations, do their video as best as possible, but they also want to do it as quickly as possible. Now, over time, over a longer time horizon, over the next 3 months, 6 months, a year, yes, you can have both. You can be both good at editing and fast. But in a shorter time horizon, let's say over one video, over the time horizon of one video, you're not going to be both pushing the limits of your editing and also being the fastest you've ever done. The first time you're trying something new, I want you to give yourself permission to be almost insultingly slower than you usually are. The first time you do anything will take a long time. Let's say that you edit on Premiere Pro or whatever software you use. The first time you used Premiere Pro, you probably took minutes just to learn how to import a footage and cut. If we fast forward to now, you can literally do it while your eyes are like pretty much closed. Like you could do it in your sleep if you had to. Is it the fact that you like tried to optimize it while you were learning? Of course not. You didn't try to import a clip and also learn how to cut and also learn how to use the pointer tool. How can I automate using the pointer tool? It's like you weren't worried about that. You were trying to do it at all. Like you didn't know how to cut at all. Let's learn that first, and then we'll get better at cutting, and then we will improve how fast we are at it. It's the same thing, just scaled up throughout your entire career. So the first time you're doing a certain effect, a certain style, or just a certain caliber of edit, so you're trying something completely new, expect that it will probably take 10 times longer than you doing another type of animation that you've already done in the past. But here's the thing, if I ask you to do that animation again, let's say in the next video, you would get it done in like a fifth of the time. And then time after that, you half it. And then time after that, you half it again. Time after that, you half it again. And then what happens is this thing that took you so long, this crazy animation, this crazy caliber of edit becomes your new normal. And then what do you do when that becomes your new normal? You do it again. You learn something new. And when I say learn something new, a lot of the time, this is just giving yourself permission to try new things within an edit. So it's you have a slight idea and it's you trying it out, expecting that you'll probably mess it up, but at least we're going to give it a shot and continue as we go. So I have a prompt in an audio, which is the guy fell from a tree. Imagine the creator said that. Oh my God, I can't believe he just fell from a tree. And you want to animate this section. You can do what you normally do, which is you just subtitle it. Or you can think, hey, I can actually slightly visualize that. What if I brought up a PNG of a tree and then made the character actually fall out? And there's like a dust particles that come out as well that we can use as an overlay. You know what? I've never done that before. But let's just throw some PNGs down and see where this goes. And you might spend 2, 3, 4 hours just doing that. And you might look back at it and be like, I can't believe this took me 4 hours. But it is better than anything I've done before. I want you to be in those moments and say that is completely fine. Because if I ask you to do that same type of animation again, maybe it might not be, oh, he fell from the tree. It might be, he fell from the sky. Or it might be, I can't believe that he fell out of the boat. You can imagine it's the same sort of movement, right? You have something up high and the character falls. If that happened in a video in a week from now, it wouldn't take you 4 hours again. It would take you maybe 20 minutes, 10 minutes. But you wouldn't have been able to cut down that time if you didn't at first spend the exponentially long amount of time trying something new. And now, there's some editors that think, but I'm not getting paid enough for this. My client's paying me $20, $10, $50, $100, or maybe even a few $100, but for how much I want to do, they're not paying me enough. I just want to tackle that belief for a second. When I see editors who complain that they're not getting paid enough to try on videos, or I would do it, but it's just my hourly rate would go too low down. Usually I catch up with them or I continue seeing where their growth goes. And it's pretty much reliably always either non-existent growth or so much slower than the people that have the opposite mindset. The reason that the idea of, oh, but I'm not getting paid enough to try on this video is fundamentally flawed is that is literally the reason you are not getting paid enough. So yes, you can maximize your hourly rate for one video, and the next video you do is going to be at the same rate, and the next video you do, you might increase it by $5 or $10. But you don't see, like, what these editors who try to optimize for their hourly rate don't see is the opportunity cost. Meaning, if they just did a banger video, if they did spend an exponential amount of time on a video, knowing that next time it will be faster, but at least now there's something they've actually gained new skills, they also have a video that they can put onto their Twitter, that they can show on their social media, that they can put in their portfolio, ultimately attracting better clients. And if someone sees that you have better work, granted you have the client flow systems running, that is how you raise your prices over time. If you keep doing what you've been doing, because I'm only getting paid X amount, you will keep getting what you've been getting, the clients at X amount. And what you call this, it's actually on my phone. I'm using my phone to record, but I've got a wallpaper of essentially my principles of how I operate in editing and how I operate in life. The first principle on there is over delivery. So it's things like, over delivery, volume, hard work, give, just principles like that. The first one on there is over delivery. And all that means is you always exceed expectations with what you do. Over delivery is the client is paying you $100 or whatever you're charging right now. And you treat that video like it's genuinely worth 5, 10 times more. Here's what that does. First of all, we have the sort of long-term thinking that most editors don't do, but the smart editors, hopefully you, because you're watching smart, like less brain dead editing videos, you're actually watching stuff like this, where if you're able to think long-term, it's, oh, I'm gonna over deliver on this video because I'm able to put it onto my portfolio, I'm able to put it on my socials, and that will attract better clients. But here's the third order consequence of that, meaning even longer term than that. The reason I have zero fear of rejection when I give my prices or when I negotiate with clients is because I genuinely believe that the client is getting the better end of the deal when I give my prices. So I'll give you an example. There have been times in my editing journey where I was scared to raise my price. So I have a few clients, but I'm not happy with the amount I'm getting paid, and I want to get new clients at a higher price. So I go out, I do that. And when they ask me what my price is, like the conversation's gone well. We've talked about style, we've talked about deadlines, we've talked about everything except for the price. And when the topic of price comes up, I get scared because I want to say 200, 300, so a little higher than what I was. But there was this tiny fear inside of me of even saying it. In fact, I had times where I would just not talk about price and try to bring it up at the end of the video, and they'd end up saying they can't afford it. So it wasn't that I got scammed. It was my fault because I didn't bring up the price. But like that's just to show how scared I was to talk about my prices. I don't have that anymore. And here's the thing. I was scared before to say a number as big as 200, 300. Right now, I can say numbers like 1,000. Honestly, even 1,000, just me saying that, it felt low. I can say around 1,500, 2,000 without feeling uncomfortable. And here's why. I fundamentally believe that my editing is good. And not just objectively, but in my head, I know how hard I work on videos. I know that when the doors are closed and no one's looking at me, I know how much immaculate care I put into every single pixel. Every single keyframe I know I have worked on. I know that when there was a bump in the curve, when I created an animation and it just didn't line up perfectly by 2 pixels, I know I spent the 3.5 extra minutes just to move it exactly where it needs to go. Because if I left that there, sure, nobody would objectively notice. But I would know. Like, I would have to go to sleep at night knowing that I left that in. And when I watch the video back, I can see the bump. I can see the little jitter in the animation. I can see the one frame that bugged out. When you do over-deliver, when you genuinely exceed expectations with everything you do, when you forget about hourly rate, when you forget about, oh, I'm not getting paid enough to make this video good, you gain conviction in what you do. And nothing sells better than conviction. Because when you can speak to a client and you genuinely tell them, like, this is my price, and when they come back to you and say, hey man, it's too expensive, and you say, no worries bro, like, there are cheap options out there. Or when the guy asks, can you do this properly? Or can you do this style? And you, just the way you type, the way you speak, you can tell that you know that you are genuinely in this for the long haul. You're not here to make a quick buck, but you actually care about your client. The funny thing is, in the short term, you and another editor who's thinking shorter term, you both make the same amount of money, right? So if we're thinking in terms of like first principle human behavior, there's actually a disadvantage to over delivering in the short term because you're making the same amount of money, but you're exerting more effort in order to do it. And the human brain is essentially an optimizing machine to max effort, low pain, low effort. So same reward, same money, but more effort. It's like that would seem stupid. As soon as you think even 3 weeks into the future, you don't even need to think that long term. Like everyone says that they think long term until they actually need to. But if you just think like a month into the future, over delivery pays off probably like 3-4 times. And when you really, really, really get this right, it pays off in hundreds. Like, I can genuinely attribute probably around like $100,000, $150,000 to one video. That is the Sona Draws Stuff video, where I edited a video where she did an art challenge. It's still on her channel. If you search up Sona Draws Stuff and search her videos by most popular, the #1 video on there has about 5 million views. That was my video. Now, that video I took on, and when we were in negotiation, I set the expectation that it was going to take me about 1 week. Now, the reason being, I had edited a video for her before and it took me a couple of weeks. So I'm like, hey, I'll get faster. I thought that I had reached my peak in terms of editing ability. That's why I said it will take me a week. But as I was editing this video, what had actually happened is, as I'm continuing to make new scenes, I'm continuously getting new ideas that I hadn't thought of before. Meaning that I thought that I had reached my editing capacity. But I, while in practice, realized like, wait, I actually didn't even know that I could do this. And that kept on happening again and again. And I kept extending the deadline again and again. And it wasn't because I wasn't working. In fact, every single day, even sleepless nights I was doing just for this video, it took me 3 months to finish this. Now, do I recommend spending 3 months on a video? No. But here's the thing. That video was objectively my best video that I had done. I had never done anything better, and on her entire channel, nothing had been seen like that. In fact, in the entire editing space, nobody had done that style. That became my most liked preview. In fact, it was my first preview to hit like above a few hundred likes. And here's the thing, it's not like, likes don't matter because you can game likes by just like doing a giveaway, and it's a retarded way to grow. But likes as in, the likes were actually from quality people. It was from creators that were actually willing to hire. And till this day, I still get inbounds. And when I ask them which post they came from, it's from that post. On my portfolio now, in my portfolio, you can see who I've worked with. That's still one of the videos that I use on there. You may have seen that exponential curve, which is like this shape. I don't know if the recording is the other way around. So it's basically like you start slow, and then it just blows up. That's essentially an exponential curve. And that's how business growth is. And my point of inflection, my point that everything sort of started blowing up, was those types of videos. Every time I see a huge amount of growth, it's always after a video where I spent an exponentially long amount of time. And the video, like if I worked out my hourly rate, objectively, if I just worked out the hourly rate for that video, I'm under minimum wage. I'm making like $2 an hour if I actually worked out the hours. But that allowed me to get so many larger and higher paying clients later. So the clients I work with now, so if I'm working on a per project basis, so like 10-minute videos, it's between $1,000 and $2,000 per video. Now, if I'm working on a day rate, which is only for one of my clients, I charge between like $600 to $1,000 per day. That is not for like a crazy amount of work, but it's because like I'm reliable. It's because I know what I'm doing. I know what works. I get paid like $1,000 per day for a few hours of work because I've locked in my workflow as well. Like I've gotten all these skills over the time. So now I can just work for like 3 hours and make like 500 to 1,000 quid. Do you think I would have been able to get to that point or get those clients if for 3 years before that I was like, I'm not getting paid enough, so I'll just do it however. I'm not getting paid enough, so I'll just like get it done as good as they need it. No. The way you get to these leveraged opportunities where you're getting paid more than most people believe that you should, you get to those leveraged opportunities by doing low leverage work. Because when you're new, when you're starting out, you don't have leverage. If you're a freelance video editor and you want to get more clients, I've got something for you. It's a completely free outreach tracker. It's the same one we use with all our coaching students, and it's going to allow you to be able to send more messages to potential clients, get more replies, and also be able to close them at higher rates. So go get that free tracker in the description. After you signed up for it, I'm going to send it straight to your email. I'm going to give you a bit more information on how I personally help video editors. So if you do want to get more help, you can apply there. But whether you get my further help or not, just go and get the free tracker for now, because at least you're going to be able to run this on your own for a while.